broadcasting from the Merritt Hall Studios out of Carson City, Nevada. You're listening to Covering the Field with Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Joe the Answer Ellison.
From the historic YNOT Saloon in Carson City, Nevada, welcome to Covering the Field. I'm Joe Ellison, and with me today are my amazing colleagues, Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Boots McCage. Guys, you might not have heard, but there's an important football game going on this Sunday. Can you tell us about it, Big Rich?
Well, first of all, how's it going at the YNOT tonight? Woo! Great to be here. Thank you to Ellison for having us here. We got a great crowd, we got great drinks, and we got great staff here. But let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. What is it, Super Bowl 57?
57.
All right, for all of us who have hard times with Roman numerals, it is 57.
It's easy for me because whatever age I am, that's what Super Bowl it is.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, happy 57th birthday.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have to talk about the injury report, shouldn't we, Joe? I mean, we got to know who's playing before we can make a prediction.
Sure. Tell us about some of those injuries. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, he's playing.
Mahomes is playing, and his ankle is fine.
I don't believe
practice
that.
all week, and he's had a great practice, and he's ready to go. He's going to be at easy 90%, which is better than any other quarterback in the league at 90%.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll have a little disagreement on that pretty soon.
I'm sure we will.
Of course.
Okay. The only one who's really ruled out is Harding, right?
Hardman
is from the wide receiver. He's on the IR, so he will not be playing.
Right.
Tony is a go so far. You know, he's taking it easy in practice, and Juju Schuster is definitely practicing this week, so we'll be able to see him on Super Bowl Sunday also.
Yeah, they're all a little dinged, but they're all going to play. It's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl, and everybody's a little dinged at this time, so I think it's good that we're going to have a good, healthy, not division game. We're going to have a healthy team this week, and I'm very excited about it.
In lovely Glendale, Arizona.
Perfect.
So, okay, well, we got a segment.
We're doing our Super Bowl segment here at the YNOT. We're very happy to have it. We have Boots McCage here going to read us some questions. And you being, let's give it up for Boots.
Hey, everybody.
So Boots going to read us some questions. We're going to call it Carlos. It's who has the better. We're playing who has the better game. We're going to put either 5 to 1 stars on the Boots question that he give us. It'll be 5 stars to 1 star, Eagles or Chiefs. We got a panel of experts up here, and we're going to help you. But I think if everybody, you can do this at home, you can do it at the bar. Best thing to do is, I think, if you look at these questions, you can get a more logical guess or logical bet. And if we do it this way, so you just don't think like my man Gary over here said, I'm just going for Philly because I don't like the Chiefs. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good way to make your bets. But maybe this could help us out and we can wager a little bit better because in the great state of Nevada, we can bet on anything.
Over 2,000. 2,000 props.
That's a lot of props that we have for prop bets. You can bet on what color underwear someone's wearing.
You can bet on a tail, the color of a tail.
Okay, all right, well, I think you can bet on heads or tails, not a color of a tail.
Okay, so we should get
Mound House.
All right, Boots, give us our first question.
All right, fellas. Question number 1. Who has the better quarterback?
Big Rich, you want to lead off?
Okay, I'm going to give 4 stars for Mahomes and 1 star for Hurst. So I think it's a 4-to-1 better quarterback. I know I'm only giving him 1 because of his scrambling. I think he did not throw good against San Francisco. He was not as accurate. And I think that he's only a second-year quarterback. Mahomes now is his 3rd Super Bowl. You have to take Mahomes at 4 stars on this.
Gator, I'm in a state of shock after the 1 star on the on Hurts right there, but go ahead.
No, you can only get 5 out of your total, so you can only get 5. So I'm going to give 4 to 1.
Well, why didn't you tell me that before?
Okay, well, I'm telling you now.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
See, okay, so you got me confused too, because that's what you said at first.
So you got 5 stars. How many are you going to get?
Well, I would give the Chiefs 4 stars, and I would give 1 star to on the Hurts if they're going to be 5 stars.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to give, since it has to add up to 5, I'm going to give 2.5 to Mahomes and 2.5 to Hurts. And that adds up to 5. Mahomes, because of his high ankle sprain. Hurts does have a bit of a shoulder. I'm looking at like Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
You're saying it's an even draw. You're telling me if you can draft on a fantasy football team, Joe, and you can have Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, you're going to say it's even.
I'm telling you right now, going into this Super Bowl game, it's an even matchup as of Sunday morning.
But that's not apples and oranges, you guys. Fantasy football is not the same as being on the field.
Okay, we're talking about the biggest game. I'll give you that. Okay.
Well, it is the high ankle sprain that's bothering me about Mahomes.
Okay.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire has the same injury. He's been out since November 20th.
And he's active because they said Gordon is inactive.
Yes. So Mahomes is pretty darn sore.
Okay.
But both quarterbacks are finalists for MVP and Offensive Player of the Year.
And I think if Jalen Hurts had a full season, he would have more equal numbers.
Yes, for sure. That hurts. The 15 rush TDs is the most ever in a season for a quarterback. And I'm factoring in also Philly's number 1 pass defense, which will limit Mahomes' passing ability.
Yes.
So
they have 14 interceptions on the year.
Yes.
It's very good.
All right. Are y'all ready for question number 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Who's got the better running backs?
Well, if you look at numbers, I'm going to have to say Sanders has better numbers, but I think Pacheco's been playing very well lately. I think it's an even draw. I'm going 2.5 to 2.5.
Okay.
I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs, so I'm going to go Chiefs 3 and the Eagles 2, and that's just a slight edge. And that's only because of Mahomes is running.
Okay. Well, I've got Eagles 3 and Chiefs 2. The run game, in my opinion, includes Hurts and the way they run the ball.
Absolutely.
That RPO.
And the
run-pass option.
The line is very good rush.
And what they did to the 49ers, who did have the number 1 defense, where they were literally freezing the linebackers because they didn't know where the ball was half the time. And I think that's what's going to make Kansas City confused. And the run game is going to be an advantage for Philadelphia. I will say also, Kansas City has allowed touchdowns on 67% of their opponent's trips inside the 20-yard line. That's 31st in the league. Philly scored TDs on 68% of their red zone trips, which is 3rd, not to mention the offensive line, which we're going to get into here in a little bit.
I'm sure, yes.
But I will say Kansas City will need to run the ball well to win the game.
Absolutely.
And when I was talking about the running game, I was talking more about Mahomes' scrambling ability. Because I see it this way: if Philly's going to win, they're going to have to get Mahomes on the carpet, on the floor.
Yeah.
If they don't, then his scrambling ability, then he's going to use his arm like he always does and do those basketball throws, and they will be caught. So that's how I see it. That's where the game is being played for me.
Very good point.
All right.
Let's move to the next one.
All right. So if you're ready for number 3, who has the better receiving core?
Well, we have to go Philly on this. I'm going to give it a 3 to 2 Philly. I think that, you have, Brown and Devontae, both are excellent receivers. If you are we going to, do we include the tight end on this? Got to give my producer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Include the tight end when you got Kelsey, which makes that very even. A best tight end, bar none, Travis Kelsey. So I'm going to give it 3 to 2 Philadelphia.
Okay.
I like it 2.5, but we have to not take the halves.
You can do it. You're fine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Those are good.
Okay, I'll take that because I think it's even. I think it's more about the quarterback getting the ball to him. I've seen some crazy catches that Kansas City has made with one-handed catches with great. So I don't know. That one's hard. I have very slight advantage, if any, to Philly, but 2.5.
When everybody's healthy, I mean, everybody's getting healthy, and you can see what Patrick Mahomes can do with a special teams player and as a wide receiver, and he was still able to accomplish that big win against Cincinnati.
Okay. Well, I got Philadelphia 3, Kansas City 2 on that. Of course, Brown and Smith. I don't think Dallas Goedert gets very much credit, but he was like a top 3, top 4 tight end this year when he was playing, when he was healthy. And if you can shut down Travis Kelsey, maybe you can shut down the Chiefs receiving core too, possibly.
Well, Joe, we're actually in agreement, which is not bad for us. So we both give
First time,
probably
first time on show.
All right, next question.
All right. Number 4. Who boasts the better offensive line, guys?
You okay?
Oh, I think you have to go with the better running backs are definitely the running offense. It has to go to Philadelphia offensive line. They're an absolute stud. Kelsey's an absolute stud on the line. I'm going to give a slight advantage. I'm going to go 3-2 Philadelphia.
I'm going to go 3-2 the other way, Kansas. Yeah, Philadelphia. I'm with you. I take that back because the running game depends on the offensive line of KC. KC has to hold and I let Mahomes get sacked, and I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can do it for the whole game. So I'm going to go with KC. Or I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Okay, yeah. Not only does Philly have the best offensive line in the league, maybe one of the best ever when history is all said and done. We'll see how this game turns out.
I think you're right, though,
the next few years.
I think you're right.
So I'm 3-2 Philadelphia.
Okay, we agree again.
Yes, amazing.
Wow, all three of us did.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, now it's when the fighting starts. Number 5. Who has the better defensive line?
I'm going to say 2.5, 2.5. I know, Joe, you're going to disagree with this, but,
of course.
Jones has 15.5 sacks. Philadelphia led the league in sacks. And so they're number 1 team against the sacks. But I think if you look how they've been playing lately and the dominance of Jones, Chris Jones in the middle, I'm going to give that 2.5 to 2.5.
Well, I understand where Big Richard's coming from. I have to give the edge to Philadelphia. I think Denver, the game that they played in Mile High Stadium, I think Denver exposed a little bit on their defense. I really do. I think Philadelphia is going to expose them a little bit.
Okay. Well, I've got Philly 3, Kansas City 2, but they're fairly similar, I guess. Philly did have that 70 sacks, which led the league, as you mentioned. There's the same pass rush that knocked out Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson. And here you have Patrick Mahomes, not going to be as mobile as he would normally be.
Very good point.
Yes. And Kansas City was actually second in sacks, so it's not really that big of a difference. They had 55, which isn't too shabby, but Philly has the slight advantage.
Okay. Let's go to the next question.
That's it? All right. So now number 6, who's got the better defense overall?
Oh, that's go ahead.
I would say it would have to be the same thing as the defensive line. I mean, I don't think you'd have to add any more. I think the defensive backs have more interceptions than the defensive backs for Kansas City, and I just think that it's the same 3-2. It's a repetitive question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we should add this to our points since we've only had 2 offensive, and now we have 3 defensive things.
Okay.
But okay, I think we can add that. Why don't we just leave that? We can add on it, but let's just don't add it to our totals because we said the overall defense is the same as defensive line. Unless you're going to add defensive backs next. Is that the next question?
Right, because we all agreed it was the lines.
I was going to say, does everybody agree?
Well, what do you got?
Well, if we're going to go with safeties and all that, then sure, that's going to be way different. And I think that the Eagles have a little bit better advantage than.
Yeah, they have that still 3-2 advantage.
Still a 3-2.
Philly.
So same thing. You're right. I agree.
Philly 3-2 for me too. Kansas City has 4 rookie defensive backs,
and they're balling out.
Yes, I know
they sure are.
But this is the Super Bowl.
Okay, but we have
3 cornerbacks and a safety.
Okay,
and
but
now
the leader of the
playing
defensive backs, Joe, is Jarius Sneed. He was been out on concussion protocol, and he will be playing. He's been cleared to practice. That's going to make a big difference, and they're already playing, showing you the depth of their defensive backs. I think it's a big advantage. If you look at interceptions, it's a lopsided for the year. I think it's like 17-12 on their total interceptions for the year.
Really?
Well, the Eagles did have the number 1 pass defense this year and the number 2 defense overall. So that's why they're going to get my edge.
All right. Well, let's not forget the special teams. Who's got the better special teams, guys?
This is a tough one for me.
Special.
Well, you look at Butner. We're going to go with the kickers first. I'm going to say you look at Butner. He is 70-some% compared to the kicker for Philadelphia. So
Elliott
is a little bit better percentage, but as you go lengthwise, Butner has a 62-yarder this year compared to only a 50, I think 3-yarder is the longest for Elliott. So you're going to get a little bit of length. I'm going to call this an even draw, 2.5.
I'm going to give advantage to Kansas City. Punt return, kicker, just all around. And overall, I just think overall they're a little bit.
No, I'm with you, Big Rich. 2.5. I don't really see any significant, obvious special teams players that are going to come out and win the game for anybody.
Right.
Offhand.
Right. And we can't.
It would be a surprise.
It would be a surprise. But if we go to punter, the punter for Kansas City did that great punt at the end of the bingo games. He pinned him inside the 10, and he also has he kicks 10 yards longer than the Elliott. So, I mean, than the Philadelphia kicker. So the edge for the punter definitely goes 3-2 to Kansas City.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you're ready for this, I got my final question here. Who has the better head coach and coaching staff?
Well, go ahead.
All right. Well, you don't mind if I go first? Coach Andy Reid has 2 Super Bowls. And that's probably before Sirianni was even born. But he had a Super Bowl win as a coach with head coach for Kansas City, and also when he was a coach with the Green Bay Packers, Allison's Green Bay Packers. He was on the coaching staff for that. And you look at the postseason, his record is 21-16. He has 13 divisional titles, and he has a career winning percentage of 635. He is 1-1 in the Super Bowls, as he did lose one with Philadelphia. And I just think that Sirianni has only been a coach for 2 years, and it is his first Super Bowl he'll be coaching. So I'll give you guys a question here, sink or swim. More for the rookie year, first time coaching, has won more than the people that have been there before.
Sink.
I would
Sink or swim.
Okay, we have a sink. I am also going to go sink on that one.
Me too.
All right. You guys are sinking correctly because the record is 28-31. So 28 times as a first-time coach, that Sirianni, they've won 31, have lost. Okay, you notice. So, but the thing we have to worry about is we got Alice's the Super Bowl one. No one has won it. So no one's lost it either. I mean, they both are first-year coaches. And you get Vince Lombardi that Alice says has 13 championships before he goes. So how can you say that he's a rookie coach, a rookie going into the Super Bowl? But these stats do that. And we look at what's happened coaching recently. Within the last 10 years, it's even slimmed down. It's I think it's 11 to 12 since 2000. So it's very, very slim. They win sometimes, they don't. But I want to say this. You look at McVay, how he got shown up by Belichick. And with the Rams and Patriots Super Bowl, you look how Andy Reid beat Shanahan in the Super Bowl in his first time, and he's going to do the same to Sirianni. I'm telling you right now, I like Rich is already. That's a 5-0. I'm giving that 5-0 coaching staff, and I proved my point.
Hey, Big Richard! Woo! Go,
Gator. You want to try to top that?
Yeah, top that. Well, basically, all you got to do is say Andy Reid, and everybody knows his name, knows he's the best coach, period. That's all you got to say is Andy Reid.
I will say Andy Reid has been fired more times than Nick Sirianni.
So but Sirianni was fired by Reid when he came to Kansas City in 2000. He said, "You know what? Get your bags, little boy, and go to San Diego and be the offensive running backs coach." And he got his great coaching staff. He has Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator. He has 2 Super Bowls as defensive coordinator. You have to give the coaching staff a 5-0. I don't see any other way unless you are Mr. Magoo and you're blind to this.
Well, I happen to be Mr. Magoo.
There you go, Joe. Tell him.
I got Kansas City as a 3, Philly as a 2. Yes, Andy Reid is playing the team that fired him.
Okay, Mary's for Philadelphia. We're gonna see we got another
So there's one part of the game that people aren't probably going to be thinking about. It's going to be 4th down conversions. Nick Sirianni led the league in 4th down conversion rate, 71%. Reid, a league low 1 4th down in his own territory, only 12 attempts, tied for the second lowest. I think Sirianni is, has got the analytics going. I think he's Andy Reid's kind of a little bit too old school. I think it's a little more even than you think it is, but I do give Reid the advantage.
I think after this game, Joe, you will have to see these words as you're putting out as complete nonsense. It's going to be like Nolan Ryan taking Robin Ventura in a headlock, and the old school guys were going to win. I'm sorry, but a little bit of the old school guys. But the younger coaches do have an advantage with their, new look and new different things. I'll give you that, but okay.
I don't know. They just seem to be the better overall team all year. So coaching had to factor into that. So anyway, so the spread is Philadelphia -1.5, 51. Gosh, I wonder which way you're going to go on this one.
Well, I think it's going to be a close game. And I think you can look at these. If you look at your stars, I have it 20-24, very, very even. So you can tell in your analytics, it's going to be a close game. I think, it could go either way. Jalen Hurts has been a stud all year. He's won every game but one. But every time that Patrick Mahomes has thrown 3 touchdowns, he's won all 10 of those games. So I've said in a close game, I'm saying with the kicker, Butner kicks a field goal, just like I said last week. Kansas City wins by a field goal.
And okay, well, that's just the side. We'll talk about the total later. Okay. Gator?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to stick with the NFC. That's what I predict. I think they're the better side. I think the NFC is still going to win. I think it's going to be really close. And I'll even give you a score. I'm going to say it's going to be 24-21.
Okay.
So then I'll tell you if he's saying it's under, Joe.
He's saying under. Okay. Well, of course, I got to talk about the spreads, the point spreads. Kansas City, 3-8-1 against the spread in their last 12. That 6-12-1 spread record, that 12 is the most ever of not covering in a season ever for a Super Bowl team. So I'm saying Kansas City is a bit overrated.
Well, they are overrated because those spreads were ballooned. They were double-digit spreads, but they weren't covering. But we're talking about a 1.5 point spread. So the spread isn't much of a factor into this.
I'm just saying the spread should be higher than this. But
all right, Joe's smarter than Vegas. I love it.
Okay, and we need to thank Boots McCage for her contributions.
Yeah, great
to that segment.
Thank you so much, fellas, for breaking me out of my cage for a little bit. I gotta get back in my cage where I belong.
And she is not a hen. I can tell you that right now. She's going to her cage.
Okay. A couple more stats. Patrick Mahomes, will you say that he's going to be the regular season MVP when the voting is done or announced tomorrow night?
Oh, he has already got the trophy in his cabinet.
Well, would you believe that no regular season MVP has won the Super Bowl since 1999? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
So I'm saying that's another factor for Philadelphia. Okay, getting to the over-under. Any thoughts on that?
Well, we've been all year. We have to thank, the Rain Man Randy for giving us, Rain Man Butch giving us the unders. He's been telling us to go unders. If you did it, you probably would hit 70% of your bets this year. So I think the under would be more accurate. And I kind of also like that the prop bet that you can get each field goal kicker, if they kick 2 field goals, that if you can get that at -110. So I think that I think they're going to be kicking some field goals. I think the defenses will tighten up.
I like that one.
So
good under.
So I think I'm going to have to say the under. I say the field goals are more into it. Even though my number on my board is 7-0, and I really like to see beat 40-37, that'd be great. And the over, but like you said, everybody wants to root for the over, as we said all year.
7-0, solid numbers on the board. But go ahead, Gator. You already gave me a final score.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it's going to be under. I mean, when the books first brought it out, it was 47.5.
Yeah, and now it's up to 51.
So. There you go. That's got to tell you, right?
Well, people like to bet, and
yes,
on the over, it's right on. It's 55% are betting on the under. On the bets are coming in on the under 51 right now. So 55
at this point.
The public bet, yes.
At this point.
Well, the stats would bear that out a little bit. Philadelphia, their last 4 games have gone under. Kansas City, their last 3 games have gone under. All the playoff games in the last 2 weeks that they played, the last 3 weeks, every Kansas City and Philadelphia playoff game has gone under.
So you see a pattern.
Yes, the last 2 weekends, all 6 of those playoff games went under.
Okay, but we know My man over here, he's talking about San Francisco. You know that one was going under with, with the broken finger and no quarterback situation. And so I don't know if that can have accurately been in there. But, it went under.
Yeah.
Well, Philly, historically, last 6 playoff games have all gone under. You saw the scores of their 2 playoff games, 38-7,
Joe,
31-7.
Would you consider, I know you're favoring the Eagles, it's very obvious, but would you say that it's the hottest team that you kind of like to bet on during this? It's the streaking team, like in basketball, you want to take the team that's hot when you make your Sweet 16 picks.
Yeah.
So the last
Super
5,
Bowl is different.
You think it's different?
I really do, because you get all that time off. You have all that media coverage. You have everything is just so different.
Okay. But I can tell you the last 5 games Kansas City has won, and I can tell you the last 5 games that Philadelphia they have lost to the Cowboys. They have lost to the Saints, which are a Super Bowl team, right? They beat the New York Giants twice with Daniel Jones, and they took a quarterbackless team in the NFC Championship. So if I look at the fact, I'm not impressed with the last 5 games. I know that the defense is playing good, but I can definitely see that Kansas City is playing. They might be covering the spread, but they're winning the games.
I see what you're saying. You're right.
Need I remind you that Jalen Hurts only lost 1 of those games? So if you eliminate all those games that Gardner Minshew was quarterbacking, then that's something in 1, whatever that is, 13 and 1 or something like that.
Did you factor in that Patrick Mahomes only had 1 leg for the last 2 games?
He's going to have no legs by the end of this game.
Okay.
I don't
think we can hit it anymore.
All right. I will say there's somewhere where you can find an advantage. The first half total is 24.5, and the total for the game is 51. 24.5 twice is 49. I'm just saying there's an angle where you can probably get in there and get a winner out of there. Maybe kind of middle it a little bit. So,
is there any prop bets that you like, Gator?
I am taking Philadelphia and under in case anybody doesn't know. And thank you, Butch, the Rain Man Roberts.
I'm not really too up on the yardage for the receivers and them. I do like the alternate lines a lot better.
Okay.
If the Eagles do win, I do think that I would like 6.5.
Okay.
And take the over. They could win by a touchdown.
The prop bet I always like to bet is the touchback. I missed it last year. The opening kick gets a touchback. It's like 70-some% times that they kicked it out of the end zone. If Kansas City kicks it, like you said, the big leg we talked about, Butner, kicking it out of the end zone, getting the touchback. I like to do that or you can bet the heads or tails.
Right. Let me do that, Joe.
Okay.
Before this weekend, since you brought up heads or tails, it was 77% of the coin flip money was on the tails. Now, last year, it was on heads, came up heads. I like heads. Can it come up twice?
It's been heads 4 out of the last 5 years.
There you go.
So it kind of goes in streaks because it was tails 4 in a row before that. But as any statistics person can tell you, it's 50-50.
It's 50-50
every single time. It could be 100 times in a row heads. Right. It's still 50-50.
Now, there are 3 different prop bets that will be cited on that coin toss. The heads or tails, who's going to receive the ball, which team's going to receive the ball, and which team won the coin toss.
Right. At least you get a choice to defer.
So you guys
win the coin flip and defer.
Now in Southern Nevada, you guys can parlay those. Up here in Northern Nevada, it's not likely we can do that.
You can't parlay a heads or tails flip.
Not right, but down there in the South, you can parlay those properly.
You can bet on anything in Vegas.
Yeah.
One important thing you might want to look out: the winner of the coin toss has lost the last 8 Super Bowls.
There you go.
In a row. So
we're going to defer the coin toss. Kansas City is going to defer.
Whoever wins the coin toss, just jump up to the window and bet the other team. They've lost 8 in a row. The one prop I like, though, is the over on the sacks, the over 5.5 sacks. Both we have the top 2 sack defenses in the league.
Absolutely.
And KC is 2.5. Philadelphia is 3. The 5.5 total. I like any one of those or all 3. I think they're all pretty good. Has there been a lot of action on anything that you've seen?
Well, crazy one, Joe. It was
besides the tails.
Well, Caesar Sportsbook prop on whatever quarterback is going to have a reception. You could bet the yes or no on that. The no opened up at a minus 650, Joe. But money started pouring in, and that included a $13,000 bet on the no. And they also reported that 7 bets of $1,000 also came in, 7,000 or higher. So, anyways, that raised the price up to a minus 1,200.
Yeah, the
almost
chances
double.
of Mahomes catching a pass, that'd be crazy to throw it to him because he can't run around very well.
Exactly.
And I don't see them throwing it to Hurts either. So that seems like a pretty good bet.
Now they also had another bettor that did place $500 on each kicker to win the MVP, and both of those were at 200 to 1. And there has never been a kicker getting the MVP. So
that's a pretty crazy bet.
Wasn't Norwood the Super Bowl? Wasn't he an MVP for? Oh no,
the team. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Butker is 200 to 1, and Elliott is 100 to 1 to win the MVP. So I guess there's a pretty nice odds, but chances
unlikely.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, you got to go to the quarterback. That's normally.
Yeah. Well, Mahomes, I guess there was a bet made on him. He's at plus 130. He's a favorite.
Right. Exactly.
Go Dodgers!
Yeah. But somebody bet $50,000 on him apparently.
Right. Right. That was an Arizona guy who placed $50,000 on Patrick Mahomes to be an MVP.
Well, if you think Kansas City's going to win, you got to know Mahomes is getting that trophy. So
exactly.
I think that's a good. So you can get better odds on taking Mahomes than you could at the money line for Kansas City.
You would think.
Now a record 179,800 million was bet on last year's Super Bowl.
179 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in sports books.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not overseas. That's
that's legally. That's Nevada. That's just the state of Nevada.
Okay.
So we'll see how close we get to that this year. Probably get it, Joe.
Yeah. If you count illegally, that's 16 billion. So that's a kind of a difference.
Big difference.
Big difference.
That's buying squares. That's betting your friends. That's okay.
Okay.
Other
okay.
Other stats. The sports books, they're doing really well this year. 8.7 billion in Nevada sports books. That was a record. So I could see that going up on the overall Super Bowl also.
Well, one thing I want, as we wrap up this section, I want to say that a crazy old lady, when I was coming in to do the show, said something about this is the first time that there's been 2 black quarterbacks, and which is a great thing, but her point was it shouldn't be relevant. It should be the color of the jerseys, and should not be talking about. We need, it's definitely an even playing field for everybody. And I just think that we should shout out that that we're moving forward, and it's great to see 2 African American quarterbacks play football.
It is.
So anyway, enjoy the game and bet some squares. Oh, one last thing. You didn't happen to watch the Pro Bowl last week, did you?
Well, unfortunately, it was more entertaining watching the snow melt from my roof because it was such a bore. It looked like I was watching a gym class from 7th grade middle school. They have to do something with it. It's definitely not entertaining. I mean, you used to, see the guys come out there and wear the different helmets, and I think it just brought a better color when you play tackle football.
The helmets were a good idea. I like that. The one last chance to see your helmet before the season's over. But
which helmet would Carr wear?
I guess he would have had to wear the Raider one.
Yeah.
Officially, but there was a lot of cussing on the field that got blipped out. I would have liked to have heard that. That would have made the games interesting. I did predict someone would get injured, and sure enough, Cleveland defensive end Myles Garrett dislocated a toe on his right foot climbing a wall on an obstacle course.
Okay. Well. Okay.
We need to.
Well, we have to. One last thing on football, Tim. Your quarterback, Brock Purdy, he is going into surgery on the 22nd. He is getting the Tommy John surgery, so he'll be a 6-month recovery. But that was what they were trying not to keep away from. They're hoping to be able to do it more with a type of therapy, and they're going to have surgery and replace that UCL.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it for football. We made our predictions. Switching subjects now, Gator. Is there any news from the National Hockey League this week?
Well, I guess the biggest news is the trade deadline's coming up on March 3rd, so we'll have to start watching to see if anything happens there.
Right.
They also have the All-Star game as well, Joe.
Did you watch the All-Star game?
No.
The three periods of All-Star.
Joe, I just can't do it, Joe. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't do it, but I'll tell you I'll tell you the winners here. Central and the Pacific played. Central won 6-4. Now the books have this game at 13.5 on the over and under. So that game went under.
Way under.
And the next game was Metro and Atlantic. The Atlantic won 10-6. Now the books have this game a little bit under 11.5, but that game went over, Joe.
So just bet the opposite of what they were leaning.
Well, it's kind of hard not to 16 goals. I mean, Atlantic covered it right there. They got 10 goals.
Yeah,
exactly. That's just in one period.
Okay.
That's amazing.
The final match was between the Atlantic and the Central, and I think you predicted this, Joe, didn't you? The Atlantic was going to beat the Central.
No, I think I picked the Pacific.
Oh, you picked the Pacific.
That's right. Because every other year, and that theory went straight out the window when I bet it for the first time.
Of course it did.
Mm-hmm. So, who are the hot and cold teams we should be paying attention to for wagering this week?
Okay, well, I would say the hottest team right now is Carolina at 7-0. And then
pretty hot,
very hot. Which is fine. They were being cold there about a month ago or so. Edmonton's 8-1. They're finally getting hot. Colorado was 7-1 until last night. Now they're down to 7-2. They lost to Pittsburgh in the shootout. And the Islanders are 4-0, and Ottawa's 4-0.
Okay. And who are the cold teams?
St. Louis, Joe, is 0-5. They have the worst record right now.
Hey, so the Blues are feeling the blues.
The blues.
All right.
Montreal, of course, 0-4. So they're still same Montreal. Now we have 4 teams at 1-4, Joe. Columbus, Philly, Chicago, and San Jose.
San Jose. They're pretty consistent.
Yes, they are.
They won last night, though.
Yes, that beat me. Yes, I went 3-3 last week, Joe. And
still, your picks are terrific. 113 and 57. 113 and 57.
Okay.
So far this season, that's 66.5%.
Okay.
Do you have any predictions for next week?
Okay, one more week of praying I get through it.
Yeah, well, we just got done with the All-Star break. Teams
so one more
go
week
through the adjustment period again.
So hopefully I can just get 5-5 or 6-4 is my goal here. So, okay, anyways, Thursday I have 2 games. I have Florida over San Jose.
Okay.
And the Islanders are going to be hosting Vancouver. I'm going to go with Vancouver.
Okay.
Vancouver is 2-5 in their last 7 games. Saturday, I have 4 games. I have Detroit over Vancouver again. Tampa Bay is going to be at Dallas. I'm going to take Tampa Bay. And Toronto is going to be hosting Columbus. I'm going to take Toronto. And the last one is going to be Winnipeg over Chicago.
All right.
Sunday, we have 2 games. I'm going to have Edmonton over Montreal and Washington over San Jose.
San Jose again.
Twice. 2 of them. Yep. And Tuesday, I have New Jersey over Columbus. And Boston's going to be at Dallas. Dallas beat Boston. I want to say Boston's going to beat Dallas.
Uh-oh, you're going against
So you get the Stars twice. You went against the Stars twice.
Correct.
Well, that's crazy. But Boston is the best team in hockey record-wise, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas is up there with in their division.
Right, the Central, the Pacific.
Okay. So, Big Rich, what were the big stories from the National Basketball Association?
Well, we have to start with Kyrie Irving is now a Maverick, the big trade of the week. It's not really much of a surprise that he was going to get traded, but I guess there was everybody was trying to get him. Three or four teams were trying to get him, and Kyrie is now going to the Mavericks, and they're playing right now, so we can see how good he is. Their odds have definitely went up. I think they were at 25-1, and now they're at 12 already to win it. So he did it, and then I think we have to go with LeBron James is now the leading scorer. He needed 37 points, all-time leading scorer, beating Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I was just upset because I really wanted the shot to beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to be a sky hook. Would have been
classic.
Okay. And it was a fall-away jumper at the buzzer, and it was 10 seconds left in the game, and he needed 37, he got 38. Typical LeBron. So I'm going to give you guys another sink or swim. Okay.
Hey,
okay. So here we go. LeBron James, active players, now the number 1 scorer, which I don't think anybody in this room will ever see anybody beat that because he's still playing. But the second sink or swim is Stephen Curry. The only guy that can catch him probably he is still way behind him, but is he number 2 behind?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'm thinking
We got a swim out there.
I'm gonna say Sink that there's got to be somebody that's been around like 14, 15 years that's ahead of Stephen Curry right now.
Wait, what about the
You guys are
threes?
sinking. You said the threes. I don't know. What's my producer saying? Is he swimming? Well, Joe, I just can't get you, man. It is a definite sink. Somebody that might have started their career in Seattle.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is next in line, but he's also 38 years old. I think he's not going to be able. Same age as Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
But remember, Durant only played 1 year in college, and Stephen Curry played 4, so he missed 3 seasons out there. But would you say Stephen Curry's sink or swim is 3, Joe?
Is 3? Oh wow. I'm going to go Sink again. And there's another one that's ahead of Curry.
It is another one. Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook have more points, and he's behind him. So they both have more than him. So that's a tricky question. I couldn't get him, but we do have some breaking news coming in. Russell Westbrook, who I told you about that, is sent to the Jazz as a part of a 3-team trade. We'll have some more information on the compensation.
D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers.
Is that what it is, D'Angelo Russell?
Mm-hmm.
And we get and now Russell Westbrook could go out there and shoot all the threes he wants in Utah.
That's going to be a salary cap kind of dive.
I'm sure they had. I think they had to pay that off to get that. But DeAndre Williams, Russell, yeah, he's a great shooter. That's what they need. They don't need somebody Russell with on the ball and all of his attitude. And he got reprimanded last night by his coach because he didn't show any type of enthusiasm when he was put into the game, and he's just a bad fit, bad teammate.
And Stephen Curry's hurt right now, right? So
Stephen Curry's out with I think a ligament issue in his knee, and he's out indefinitely, so they don't know. But what does his splash brother do? Klay Thompson hits 12 3-pointers in the next game. Is that amazing?
He's warming up.
He's done it twice now. Shot over 12, and he holds the record for 14 in one game. And Joe, I have to try to get you one more time in the sink or swim.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Okay. LeBron James has 40 points against every team in the NBA. Every team he has scored 40 points against, at least 40 points.
Yeah, I think he does because I think the Clippers were the last one, and I think he just did it like a month ago, and he has 40 points against every team.
Every team. That's exactly. It's a swim. It's a swim. That's just a remarkable. That is remarkable. Shows you what kind of player he is.
Great stuff.
He spent more life in the NBA than not in the NBA.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 20 years, 38 years old.
Wow.
That's pretty good. So that's it for NBA. What's going on in college basketball?
Well, the number 1 and number 2 team went down this week, Tennessee and Purdue. So we have a new top 5. We have Purdue number 1. We have Houston number 2. We have Alabama now moved up to 3, even though they lost to the Sooners. We have Arizona 4, and we have Texas 5. So I don't know. Texas is not going to stay there long because they just got beat by Kansas State. So they'll be out of there. A team that's moving up, Indiana has 2 good big wins this week in the conference. So
all right.
One thing about Duke, got beat by 30 points against Miami. I mean, what happened to Duke? I mean, unbelievable.
Coach K went out the door.
Coach K out the door, and so did their defense and offensive rebounding.
All right. So, okay, is that it for college?
That's it for college.
Okay, all right. Quickly, maybe we should talk about the NASCAR season got underway.
Yeah, finally. I love NASCAR, Joe.
The Busch Light Clash exhibition.
Yeah, Erica Aramola was on pole this time, but Martin Truex won, my favorite driver, who didn't win at all last year, Joe, but he did qualify second.
20-1.
And that was my pick. That was my pick to win.
Nice job.
That's correct. Last week, that was correct.
Picking a guy who didn't even win a race last year, and he nailed it.
That's great, Joe. Second, Chevy's got 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Second, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the Toyota got 6th, and the Ford actually got 7th, Joe.
Yes, that quarter-mile track inside the LA Coliseum.
Okay, yeah. Now last year, we had a clean race pretty much, Joe. There was only like 5 cautions?
5 cautions.
Yeah. Well, this was very different, Joe. We had a Ford win too as well, Logano, who I picked last year. But we had 25 cautions, Joe. Now, if you guys remember the old track up at Edmonds, over on Edmonds Fields now, it's kind of like racing over there where they had heat races, Joe. So none of those cautions actually counted in the actual lap. But the bumping started early in the practice. We had AJ Allmendinger bumping Chase Briscoe. And on the 74th lap in the final race, we did have Ross Chastain spinning out Denny Hamlin again.
So that's going to be a year-long battle for sure.
Now, NASCAR did, if you remember correctly, Joe, in Martinsville last year, Ross Chastain used the wall to pass about 10 to 12 different cars. Well, NASCAR did outlaw it, that he's not going to be able to do that again, but that was a great move anyway, even though it's not going to be there. But something for us to watch for the Daytona that's going to be on the 19th. And Joe, my guy, Kyle Busch, he got here in third.
Yeah, he's getting more news for his 3.5-year sentence for taking a gun in his luggage to an airport in Cancun. But somehow he still gets to race.
Yeah, he still gets to race down there.
How did he get out of that 3.5-year sentence?
Well, he has a pretty good paycheck every week, and I think maybe the M&M company might have Mars company might have gave him a little bit of money to get out there and race their car this week.
Apparently so. And what occurred at PGA Golf's Pro-Am at beautiful Pebble Beach in Monterey?
Yeah, we had Justin Rose. He won. That was his first win in 4 years, Joe.
25-1.
25-1. That's a nice price.
Yeah.
Anyways, Joe, the round was delayed a little bit and was finished up on Monday. But that win by Justin Rose, he's now eligible for the Masters. And the final 10 holes, Joe, that he did, he was 6 under par.
So he deserved it.
Yeah, he way deserved it.
Of course, that big wind delay, they had to finish on Monday. Aaron Rodgers won the Pro-Am with Ben Silverman. Somehow his 3 handicap became a 10 handicap on Monterey Peninsula right there. Keith Mitchell teamed with Josh Allen, who should have been at the Pro Bowl anyway. He called it crap.
Yeah.
Basically, Rodgers got an extra like 6 strokes.
He did. I agree.
And now he can sit in darkness for 4 days and enjoy his historic victory there. So he's on the wall in Monterey forever.
Well,
okay. Sorry, we're kind of running out of time here, but yeah, I know. But we got to mention to watch the Rugby Six Nations. We can't really get into anything, but we will next week. But Ireland looks pretty darn strong. Picks. We both like Scotland to cover against Wales and Italy to cover against England. And you like France to cover, but I'm going to stay away from that game.
Yeah, I like Ireland to win, but I think France is going to cover that 4.5.
The winner of Ireland-France this week, I think, is going to win the
whole thing. That very well could happen. I agree.
And I want to mention some news from Major League Baseball. Pitchers and catchers report to their teams 1 week from today.
Yay!
The season starts March 30th. All teams will play on opening day for the first time since 1968.
All right.
Yeah, that's going to be neat. Odds have been out for months now, obviously. And some other stats. Max Fried for Atlanta lost his arbitration case, but still will make $13.5 million this year. It's not bad work.
No, not bad at all.
If you can get it. And John Birdie, who led the league in stolen bases, only 41, led the league in stolen bases. He's staying in Miami. So thanks to Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon.
Yay, Rockin' Ronnie! Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you.
So it's that. Segment where we talk about things that appeared to be really good winners. Their tickets or something good that were going to happen, but at the end something went horribly wrong. It's a segment we call "You Got Hosed." You got hosed. You got hosed.
You got hosed.
Good friend and colleague here, Gator, told me that he was at 666%, right?
Yep.
So we took the Devils, which got me an overtime win.
Yeah.
But what? I just can't stop and bet the parlay because I took another Devil team, but the Blue Devils.
Oh.
And thanks a lot, dude. You kicked me right in the gonads. You lost by 30 points. They never even were close at all on that. Thank you, but thank you for your pick. I just doubled down on the dark side. for the Devils on your 666.
Well, okay. Sorry about that.
Well, the Devils hit, but the Blue Devils didn't.
Yeah.
No.
They never got off the plane.
Okay. Well, Saturday, Joe, Gonzaga was playing St. Mary's, and I was up at the sports book, and a bettor had 5 out of his 6 teamers in. So all we needed was just that Gonzaga to win. Well, with 2 minutes left, Gonzaga started missing shots left and right. But what was crazy was, and easy ones too. But what was crazy is St. Mary's was missing just as many as they were. So what happened was the game ended in a tie, and they went into overtime, and Gonzaga was tired. They just got tore apart. They weren't even there. And Mike, the guy up at the sports book, he told me I can use his name. Sorry, buddy. And anybody who betted on Gonzaga, I think that you guys got it.
It's looking great until the very end.
Exactly.
Then you got hosed. Well, the people who I think got hosed were the football fans who expected a real football game at the Pro Bowl last weekend. As lame as it used to be, it was better than dodgeball, obstacle courses, golf, long drive contest, catching water balloons. I mean, come on, man. Only Major League Baseball has a legitimate all-star game. Play the old way, or better yet, just get rid of the Pro Bowl altogether. Football fans are getting hosed.
I think it's just a party for them, Joe.
Yeah, well, it was in Vegas this year. So that was
Well, that's still a party for them.
You got hosed.
Well, that's it for the show. I'd like to thank the historic YNOT Saloon in Carson City for hosting us. My colleagues, Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, Boots McCage, and all our contributors. Our producer, editor, and engineer, Cornelius, and all your listeners out there. And next week, we look forward to bringing you another episode of Covering the Field.
Bartender, pour me a drink.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.